Well, hello, everyone. We are so glad to be here with you again on Thursday to talk about group piano, and specifically this week, group piano for preschoolers. Why you should teach preschool piano. And I think we're going to just kind of focus on ages 4 to 5. How you doing, Mindy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And you know those sweet little 4 and 5-year-olds that run around our room and are ready to learn music?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about teaching them?
I actually love preschoolers. They are the reason I started teaching group piano,
Mm.
and 4-year-olds will forever have a special place in my heart. They are just so much fun and light bulbs going off all the time,
Yeah.
and they're just cute.
Uh,
Cute in a puppy dog way. Kids that get older are still cute, but just not the same as 4-year-olds.
I can't believe you're saying cute. Like, no, they run around like last year I had one under a piano.
Well, yeah, but I also love it when they pile in my lap and we're just
Yeah,
like having a big, like a moment learning something.
yeah. They do want to hold on to you and hug. They do. Yes, they do that a lot. Well, I'm glad we both agree. I do like teaching that age group also. Um, but they can be a challenge. They can be a challenge. But there are reasons why, really good reasons. And if you're, um, handling your independent studio and, we need kids to be coming in and enrolling to keep our income, keep our studio growing. And I think this is just a very good age where they could start. There's very little competition when it comes to music lessons. And if you start offering these great preschool class, you can become the go-to teacher in your area for this age group, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because this is the age of play dates, right? So preschoolers are actually very well connected. And if you asked somebody that was interested to see if any of their friends wanted to come along, they're actually probably going to bring somebody.
Yeah. I used to teach baby classes also, and that's how I get my baby classes. You tell one mom and they spread the word for you. So it's the same with this age group also. Yeah. So, well, we have a few points that we want to go through, um, so that you can start to kind of convince yourself. Maybe you just start with one class, a small class. But here are the reasons why. And why don't you start, Mindy, with the reasons that we think that it's so important.
Absolutely. So you kind of alluded to it earlier, and that's the fact that this age group has little competition from other activities. I mean, kids today, I think we can agree, are way more overprogrammed than we were when we were their age. But preschool kids very often have a lot more freedom in their schedules because they are not bound to a compulsory 8 to 4 or 8 to 3 school schedule. So they have more time, and they also, there's like a lot of sports that older kids do that these younger kids can't do. They haven't developed the motor skills to be really super successful at that. So there, I mean, they are a little more available.
So, item number two would be that preschoolers can be taught earlier in the day. If they go to preschool only in the morning, then you could teach them probably at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Or sometimes you can get homeschoolers, the preschool, and you can teach them in the morning. That's how I got started. With baby classes, also, I know that we're not talking about baby classes this time, but those can all be done at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And even, kids seems to be getting out of school later now. So the elementary kids, we start them like at 4:30 or 5. So we still have, like, my preschool classes are at 4:30. Well, my older students can't. get to me by 4:30. They want to come later. So that works really, really well if you still just want to do afternoon classes to keep them, earlier than the older students that you are teaching. So that was point number two.
Yeah, and that worked for me too. I found a couple of preschools near me and I found which days they taught and what times they taught, and I just took flyers in and had classes that were available for after the morning preschool class or in the morning before the afternoon preschool class. So,
Very
yeah, I
nice.
mean, there's a lot of untapped potential for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk for a second about these preschoolers themselves. They're in this stage of rapid growth, rapid fire growth. Their minds are like sponges and they can suck up information so quickly and make sense of it and remember it. And that's why early childhood education is so powerful. So we can capitalize on these naturally occurring phenomena in their growth and development that make it really beneficial for them to start learning. And like if you think about it as putting down a foundation for music, as it doesn't matter if they end up playing drums or singing or whatever, but their early childhood education in music is going to provide them with a really stable base for any kind of music making.
Yes, very good. Little sponges.
Mm-hmm.
So also at this age, they are ready to be guided musically. And a lot of the preschoolers might be too young for specifically a private lesson. Um, I know I tried teaching preschoolers private lesson, and I don't want to jump and sing with one kid. That's like boring for the kid too. But if
Right.
they're in a group, I can just say, it's time to have a dance party. We did yesterday. Yay! And I don't really have to dance with them if I don't want to. Um, and they love it. They love it, just that energy between each other. But also having them learn to follow directions. That is difficult for them. They want to blurt out and say whatever. That's normal. And what we are trying to do in our music classes is to have them learn to follow directions, to explore rhythm, and to start developing their musical skills. It's just beautiful when they can do all of this before they get to the piano to do something more formal. Okay, so we want to teach them in a way that matches their developmental stage. And I think that's where a lot of us piano teachers are frustrated because we want to teach them the way we would teach a 10-year-old, and we can't. It's going to be totally different. But are they ready? They are ready. We are the ones that have to learn what is needed at this stage of their development so that they can be guided musically.
And actually, Dorla, this is something that I learned from you about specific things that preschoolers are not quite ready to
Mm.
be able to manage themselves. And one is spatial awareness. They don't quite have a feeling of boundaries of how to move through space. They're still learning how to navigate their bodies. And so we need to be really attuned to that and figure out how we can maximize that and help them train that. The other thing that they have not quite learned is their tonal center is still developing. This one was a huge one for me, and it's actually been a game changer in my studio as I've been singing with the kids more and having them match pitch. I can see a difference here at the end of the year in being able to sing on pitch that they didn't have when they came in at the beginning of the year. And it's just by doing and repeating, and this was something that I didn't know was untrained. And so, it's no surprise to me that when I get a 7-year-old that has not had early childhood education or has not done a lot of singing, they struggle more at the piano. And so
Yeah.
that's a point in favor of teaching these younger kids because you do have the power to shape those two aspects of the way that they move, learning how to move and feel a beat, and then being able to sing and have a truer tone.
Yes. it's beautiful to see how their voices change into matching pitch. And we do that all by just playing and just having them sing patterns. Um, I learned that very well with Dr. Edwin Gordon. And oh, he would make us sing and sing and sing. And I was like, why are we doing all this singing? Until he called a few of us up to sing with him and just harmonize. And I was like, what? And I could do it. And I was like, oh, I grew up singing in my family and harmonizing with my family. So it was very natural for me. So teaching that is a difficult thing. But when you grow up with it, and that is what we're doing in our music classes, is we're having them grow with that. Then when we get to the piano or any other instrument, we don't have to work on that part. Now we work on the technique of learning to play this instrument. I was just adding on to what you were saying.
Oh,
But
it was perfect.
our sixth point is being in a musical group setting helps organize their minds. Um, Music has a beat, has a rhythm, has form, has structure, uh, all those basic things that we know about music. And when students, young students, participate specifically in a group setting where we have these structures that we follow every week in order for them to, be in music class and get everything done, that starts to help them organize their brain and understand there's a time for this and then there's a time for that. I need to learn to take turns to control my body. Um, and especially if they've not been in a school setting before, this is a great way for them to learn how to listen, take turns, follow directions, and participate in a group. You'll know that when you have 9-year-olds who have not mastered boundaries and structure, you know how they are in your multi-level class, and you're like, what's going on? But if we can train them in a music class from the beginning, then we can focus on making music when they're older.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. The last point that we feel is really important to start a preschool program in your studio is because it just makes sense from the business perspective. If you are filling preschool classes and you're teaching 4 year olds, 5 year olds, they turn 6, they turn 7, they turn 8, you don't have to recruit. These people are going to stay in your studio. And I think back to my very first group of little preschoolers, little 4 and 5 year olds, and I had 5 of them, and 4 of them are still with me, and they're 12, and they do wonderfully.
Yes.
And I wish everyone could be like them.
Yes.
So it makes good sense to kind of front load, um, because they'll integrate with your studio better, and it also opens up options for your current students who may have younger siblings. So
Yes.
there's lots of ways that you can find this demographic to teach, but it makes sense because they'll stay with you and they'll be trained. Like, they
Yes.
know your style of teaching, they know what the expectations are. They are, again, we just said they're going to have a better tonal center, better sense of rhythm, and they're just going to have more success.
Definitely. And also, you're building such a great community in your studio,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Um, so, anyway, those are the reasons why we believe that you should incorporate the teaching of the little ones. And in our upcoming webinar, April 11, we want to show you how we do that. It is it is challenging, definitely. I find myself calling one student's name the whole time, like in my recordings, you hear me call his name all the time. And as I said at the beginning, I had one kid, just while we're singing over here on the rug, he's under the pianos. And yes, they want to touch everything and um but that's going to happen. You should not be upset about that happening. You should know why it's happening, what to do, and how they're still learning when they do that. They're still, this kid that I'm talking about, when we would come to the piano, he knew exactly what to do. He did it perfectly, better than everybody else. It's just that he couldn't handle, he wasn't ready to handle the group activity in general. So he's not in my class anymore. But if we know that, if we understand, we are more understanding. If we understand, we're more understanding. And
Imagine that.
and then we're not frustrated with our preschool classes. We understand why things are happening. So we invite you to join us on this webinar, and we'll have the registration in the comments, and that's it for today.
Yeah, sign up and join us, and we'll walk you through how we have created a wonderful preschool program that addresses all of the skills and the things that these kids need and can be fun to teach and fun for the kids to learn.
Awesome. Goodbye, everyone.
See you next time.